Flight Sports TV, man. That's my dude. I rolls with him.
You heard what the man said. It's Flight Sports TV.
Flight Sports TV, that's where it's at.
Flight Sports TV.
What's going on, people? It's Flight Sports TV. I appreciate y'all for checking with me. I already know what it is. We back with another one of them things. Listen, shout out to the people. We got the post-game report. We got a 10-point lead up here in Dallas. Luka Doncic has returned to Dallas. You understand? LeBron James is having himself one of them virtuosos. You know how LeBron James do. He come to save Luka. This is an unbelievable encounter. LeBron is going ape in this fourth quarter. The Dallas Mavericks clearly made a terrible mistake trading Luka Doncic. What in the holy hell were the Dallas Mavericks thinking giving away Luka Doncic? That was one of the most disgusting things that I could think of. Obviously, it was a lot of personal gripes going on. You got Nico Harrison. It didn't make any sense. You got AD. AD to me, come on, man. AD ain't going to hold up. I don't know how much more he has. We all know he's towards the tail end. Will Dallas ever get that championship? That's the only thing I could see that could validate a situation like this. Is if Dallas could somehow win an NBA championship. That's the only way to save it. And the more and more I look at this roster, this team, you know, you got Kyrie just tore his ACL. All of these chances seem to be very, hard to happen. And I don't see the Dallas Mavericks winning one, not even next season. But Luka did come here tonight. They had a tribute video for the people that seen. This guy was in tears. We all saw that. The tears was flowing. It was unbelievable. Luka Doncic step back 3 after 3. We back with it. We got a couple more minutes remaining in this matchup. We got 3:35 to go in the fourth quarter. I got Luka Doncic with the rock going all the way to the cup. Luka Doncic with the up and under, and it's good. Luka with the magician, the tricks. This guy's in his bag, ladies and gentlemen. The score is 105-93. Luka has 40 points, 14 of 25 from the field, 7 rebounds, 6 assists. That's just crazy. That's a homecoming, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to come and stick it to your former basketball team, that's what you do. And Luka Doncic is doing it firsthand, as we can see. Great up and under from Luka Doncic. Here we go. We got Austin Reeves crossing half court. LeBron James. The Lakers are third in the Western Conference. Who the hell would have saw this coming? You would have thought it would have been the other way around. But the Lakers have shocked everybody. Luka kicking it out to Reeves. Reeves in the mid. Oh my goodness, Reeves in the mid range, and Luka for the putback, and he couldn't convert it. Rebounded. Here comes LeBron. LeBron James, the Dorian Finney-Smith. They kick it out to Rui Hachimura. LeBron James all the way to the cup on Anthony Davis with the step back. That's off. Rebounded by Reeves. LeBron James behind the back pass to Rui Hachimura. LeBron James going all the way to the cup. They kick it out. Austin Reeves, step back 3 ball. That's an air ball. That should have been down. We got a 24-second shot clock violation on the Los Angeles Lakers. The playoffs is right around the corner, ladies and gentlemen. We're in nothing but a couple of days before the postseason. We will have our games reports all for you. There's a couple of teams I'm trying to keep my eyes and antennas on, and the Los Angeles Lakers is clearly one of them. Shout out Rap Guy Reloaded. I see you in the chat. We got 105-93 right now up here in Dallas. 2:10 to go. PJ Washington. We all know the former Charlotte Hornets. Rap Guy says Lakers are winning so far. Yeah, I mean, listen, I got the Lakers, possibly going all the way to the NBA Finals. You got a lot of teams right now in shambles out west. You got young teams that have emerged that I just don't think are ready. They may be 2 to 3 years out to achieving what they really want to do, but somehow, some way, their process has been accelerated. You look at a team like OKC. Yeah, they did trade. They split games up there with the Los Angeles Lakers, but I just think in a lockdown best of 7 series, I just don't see it. You do have the Denver Nuggets coming up next. Like I said, they fired Mike Malone. We put a report on that, on head coach Mike Malone being fired. I want to see Mike Malone up there in Charlotte. We'll get to that later. But shout out Rap Guy. He said Nuggets are in shambles, complete shambles. Here goes Luka Doncic crossing half court, 105-94. Luka operating. Luka step back 3 ball. Oh my, Luka came to play tonight. That's 43 buckets. And he's shaking his head. He letting it be known. He getting a standing ovation from the Dallas Mavericks crowd. 15 to 27, 7 of 10 from 3-point range. I mean, this horrifying. If you are a Dallas Maverick fan, you are horrified at what just happened. Clearly, egos played a part in this. You don't give away Luka Doncic, man. You seeing it firsthand. You work this out. You fired Nico Harrison. You know, I mean, I'm just saying, this was a complete mismanagement that took place here. And you're going to see the Dallas Mavericks pay for it. Look at AD tonight, 13 and 11. Luka, 43. I mean, that's just crazy. 8 rebounds, 6 assists. This was a robbery. Luka trying to put up 50. Luka got 45 points, y'all. It's 110-94. You got his teammates embracing him. Shout out Basil Carpenter Jr. in the chat. You already know what it is. It's 110-94, 135 to go in the fourth quarter. Luka getting that treatment. Pause. You get in the crowd. They got all the signs and everything. Basil, you already know we've been doing this Luka stuff for a long time. We just got to pay the utmost homage when it comes to Luka Doncic, y'all. Luka Doncic is one of the best players in the world. We want to talk this, we want to talk that, and we had to see it firsthand. It was a lot of speculation when he first came out because every single day he was compared to this guy, compared to that guy, but you got to prove it. And Luka Doncic has proved it in the postseason. We've seen it countless times. I got my man All Access with me. Dex, what's the deal? It's Flight Sports TV. You already know what it is. The Lakers is up big up here in Dallas. Talk to us.
Yes, sir. Shout out to Flight Sports TV, the machine, the voice of the voiceless, the people's champ, the hottest in the streets. Everybody hit that like button, hit the notification bell, and also hit that subscribe button to help promote the channel. Flight, this is a doozy for Luka. And I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised because Luka got ejected yesterday. And unfortunately, the Lakers was in the lead going for a back-to-back victory over OKC, the number 1 team in NBA. And it was a misidentification of verbal direction to the referee, and he was talking to a fan. So he called the Lakers practically that game. I mean, because of his unsuspected exit, the Lakers was in disarray, and OKC took advantage of that. So tonight, coming back to D-Town, Luka Town, Luka had to put up a doozy, and he answered the call. Like Luka answered the bell. This is what the Laker fans want to see from Luka in a situation where things can get real intense, and the crowd has went bonanza and nuts every time Luka touched and scored that ball. Signs was put up. Luka forever.
Yes, Dex. This clearly was a indictment, in my humble opinion, on the Mavericks. This is showing me that they made a terrible mistake. You know, they had no business giving away Luka Doncic. I know you celebrate and everybody's happy in Laker land, but Dallas is this is idiotic, man. What do you say?
Well, one man's trash is another man's treasure. And I think the ownership, as well as the brass of the Dallas Mavericks organization, publicly led by Nico Harrison, to give up on Luka, to say that, he's not the guy to lead them in the future. And we thank Nico for calling Rob Pelinka, and Rob Pelinka had the asset that was needed for that trade to be consummated. Like,
Yeah, it's like I said, Luka, he seemed like he just wasn't letting up. Seen from first quarter, man, he wasn't playing. The threes was flowing. It looked like he had it out. You seen Luka in tears. I don't know if you've seen it. They had a nice, pregame video package for Luka Doncic that brought him to tears, and he came out and bawled. Um, like I said, I like what I'm seeing from the Lakers. I really think y'all third. I didn't see this coming, Dex. I was one of the people who said the Lakers was not going to be competitive this year, and they have shocked everybody. This guy JJ might win Coach of the Year. There's a lot of things that's going on here. Who's to say y'all don't win Executive of the Year? Y'all made this crazy trade. I mean, I'm just saying. There's a lot that could go into this. But I love what I'm seeing. This game is over. What's the deal, Dex?
yeah, well, coach of the year, I don't think JJ Redick will get that. He'd probably be a third tertiary in that level. I think coach of the year probably will go to Kenny Atkinson, and what's the guy, Bernie Bickerstaff from Detroit will probably get second. And Mark Dadno already done had that award, so he'd probably be removed. So, but executive of the year, yes, I think that's a possibility, and that's very within reach for Rob Pelinka and Jeannie Buss and company. But shout out to LeBron James for being able to swallow his pride and play more off ball and allow the redneck backcourt of Luka and AR-15 to take control of the ship rudder. Like,
yeah, speaking of AR-15, this guy gonna pay huge dividends for you guys in the playoffs. This game is all she wrote. Luka has put up 45 big buckets. The game is over 112-97. The Lakers have been successful once again. Like I said, 16-28 for Luka, 8 rebounds, 6 assists, 46 career 40-point game for Luka Doncic. Just it seems like all of the accolades continue to pour on. He's embracing his teammates right now. I would have loved to seen Kyrie in this matchup. I don't think we able to really see the way Dallas wanted to have this game envisioned. It's easy to watch it and say, "Oh man, Dallas is just crazy," but Kyrie Irving, if he was on the floor right now, this game would possibly be competitive. It maybe it would have went wire to wire. Hell, we might be in overtime, but because I think Kyrie would have matched that 45. They didn't have nobody to say, what? The hell no. Look, here, I understand this homecoming, goddammit, but you ain't about to come up here and run up the numbers. And, Kyrie would have been the guy to try to match Luka, and we didn't see that tonight. But it is what it is. Give major props to Luka Doncic. He's being embraced by everybody, him and Lively. AD and Luka is talking. This is terrible. I would like to know what the hell they whispering about. But it's crazy what's going on. I'm just watching all these interactions right now. They didn't want to see Luka go. That's letting me know something went on. I heard that the Dallas Mavericks was trying to reach out to Luka's endorsement sponsors and try to do something, but he's being embraced right now by everybody. I'm watching. That was who the hell was that? Was that Patrick Mahomes? So they're gonna Mark Cuban. Mark Cuban trying to get him a hug in here. Yeah, that's Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes up there in Dallas. So Mark Cuban and Luka Doncic embracing with a hug and some laughs. So it don't seem like there's any bad blood. I don't see Nico Harrison. Luka Doncic is about to speak right now, ladies and gentlemen. Let's hear what Luka Doncic got to say.
No, honestly, everybody saw me the way I reacted to the video. All these fans, I really appreciate it.
Well, they got way too much sounds going on. We're gonna wait till these guys hit the press conference. But Luka Doncic is so many words. He just happy to be back here in Dallas. Is an emotional moment. It's just crazy to see this from Luka. The Lakers are going to the conference finals at the very least. What do you think about this, Dex? How far can the Los Angeles Lakers go in the postseason? Under Luka Doncic, LeBron finally got a guy who could take the wheel. This is big time. What you think about their playoff chances?
Well, to be honest with you, the Lakers could go all the way and have the last dribble when the confetti falls in the NBA Finals, playing against their counterparts, the Eastern Conference representation of the NBA. At the same time, LeBron James have coupled himself with probably the most skilled basketball player in LeBron James' career as a co-partner. I know Kyrie has been that guy, but I think Luka might be a little more advantageous for LeBron because Luka wants to pass the ball, Luka wants to rebound, Luka wants to score. Whereas Kyrie, he would do it, but it was more reticent than anxious. And I think Luka's anxious to prove everybody wrong that a team like the Dallas Mavericks, a place that he really appreciated, respected, and even had love for, gave up on him too soon. And now he's in purple and gold. He feels playing with LeBron and the supporting cast that they can have the last dribble when the confetti falls from the sky in the NBA Finals fight.
I'm with you there. I want to get into another thing with you, Dex. Mike Malone, he was just fired. I don't know how this impacts the Lakers. I know the Lakers and Nuggets, they've been arch nemesis. What was your thoughts on the Malone firing? What did you think about that when you heard that?
Well, I was definitely shocked because that firing caught me off guard like it did the NBA landscape because Mike Malone is one of those type of coaches who can extrapolate the most out of a given player. I mean, look at Christian Braun, look at Caldwell Pope, look at Brown. All these players are so borderline, but yet in the Denver uniform, under the dictates of Mike Malone, these players excelled. And so it was shocking at the time that they separated and announced the departure of Mike Malone. It was crazy. Now, for the GM, it looked like forecasting that he was going to be relieved of his duties. Calvin Booth, Ohio State finest, that he was going to be relieved from his duties. And so Mike Malone was weighing in the balance, but somehow, some way, the behind the scenes of the Denver Nuggets knew something and felt it was time to release and dethrone Mike Malone as he has been forcefully abdicated from the throne at Ball Center. I never really seen anything like this. I mean, something close to this was Budenholzer, and then even that was Frank Vogel for the Los Angeles Lakers. So these firings after winning championships are becoming too common, and it reeks. How can I say this? It reeks that the NBA behind the scenes are the governors feel that it's more business. I mean, straightforward is more business than win. And so we're having these odd coming to Jesus moments with these teams. And this is why it's seeing shock and reverberation all through the NBA landscape. And this is why it is a great shaking in the NBA under the auspice of Commissioner Silver. So the Denver Nuggets felt they might have a good coach as a backup. He's been there a while. I can't think of his name, but he's been there a while. And I think he has some NBA legacy tied to him as well. Alderman, right? I think his dad, I think Rick is his dad, Rick Alderman, who coached the Sacramento Kings and coached the Portland Trailblazers. So there's some legacy there. Yeah, Houston as well. Yeah, there's some legacy there. So they feel comfortable in relieving Mike Malone because maybe he lost the locker room, we just didn't know it. And Alderman has come in and Sweden and kept the locker room together while Malone had it in chaos.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie, man. I like Mike Malone's swagger as a coach. I like the way he was going to the podium and challenging his people and all this and all that. I think a lot of teams need that. I look at Charlotte. I want them to fire Charles Lee and hire this guy, and shake up the joint. That'll never happen. But these are the kind of people you got to have to get the wheels twirling, with Mike Malone. But it is what it is. Shout out to him. Let's get back to the Los Angeles Lakers. LeBron James was an epic co-star tonight as well. Give major props. We had to think that LeBron was going to be there to back up Luka Doncic. LeBron was asked about this game tonight. Obviously, we all know everybody likes to compare the homecomings, of the return game, the revenge game. Where did all this really come from? Did it start with LeBron's return to Cleveland? He was asked about Luka returning to Dallas. He let it be known that he expected what we expected tonight. A lot of admiration, fans going ballistic because he didn't have no choice. In LeBron's situation in Cleveland, he had a choice. He elected to go to South Beach. So that's why you see the hostile, fan base that was waiting for him when he returned to the land. But it is what it is, man. This is a good game, for the optics because it's time to move on. Luka is in Los Angeles. You're playing for the Lakers. They sent you to LA. We could be upset about this. At the end of the day, it's not like they sent you to Utah. I'm pretty sure they could have abstracted some assets from the Jazz, but they sent you to where? They sent you to LA to play with LeBron in his twilight years and to be in that market. That's a major market for Luka Doncic. And I really think we ain't really seeing, everything that to the magnitude that this Luka trade really is. We seeing a little bit because when he first got there, he was dealing with that calf. So it started off a little slow, in my opinion. Now you're seeing these 40-point games popping up in and out. Pause. So clearly the calf is getting right. He said something today that clearly he worked his ass off to get to the point he was in. A lot of people talk about his work ethic. Is he working hard? Is he doing this and doing that? Clearly, this guy's been a professional ever since this guy was like a kid up there in Slovenia. People really need to do their homework on Luka Doncic. There's a reason why he could step foot on the floor and be in the position that he's in and doing what he's doing. There's a reason. It's not by accident. So now he's in LA and give him time. And this is the player that can bring in the assets. You know, LeBron James leaves, he retires. I could see Luka bringing in a star too to come to LA. You know, I couldn't see that for AD. Who's to say AD would have never been finished by the time LeBron retired? You know, so clearly this was a major move. I'm happy for the Lakers to pull this off. This was a real big time Dr. Bus move, you know, in my opinion. This was like a throwback. Just bringing that star, just establishing the next generation while you still trying to muster whatever you can out this generation of LeBron. But they got the next 10 years wrapped up under Luka, barring injury. Dex, what's your thoughts on all of this news?
Well, only thing I can say is the Lakers did not initiate any of this. The Lakers is moseying on their business, trying to figure out what they can do with that roster prior to the trade. And then all of a sudden, someone whispered in Rob Pelinka's ear, and then all hell broke loose. Hell to high water. So this is where we're at now. And as far as LeBron James being his twilight career, I don't know about that flight. I mean, LeBron James is playing extraordinarily well, especially for having the long tooth that he had. It's one thing watching LeBron James dictate a heliocentric offense. Now, at this age, LeBron James continued to surge north, playing off ball and being a menace around the restricted area. And this is why a lot of pundits, analysts, and commentators who cover the sport of professional basketball and NBA in particular have the Lakers going deep on a playoff run, but most of them have them stopped by OKC. Now we know Shannon Sharp say Lakers in 5. Once again, here is a big time professional athlete plagiarizing YouTube content, because we know there's a podcast called Lakers in 5. And all of a sudden, Shannon Sharp has taken over that saying. We done seen new media being hijacked and plagiarized by Draymond Green.
And I want to say something too.
I mean,
I want to add to what you're saying because this is powerful. We just had an incident, you know, and it speaks to the organization of, you know, YouTubers and content creators and communities and shit like that. You know, you just had an incident with Cameron going ape shit on LiAngelo Ball. LiAngelo Ball verse was organized. Is what it is down. You understand? How the hell these guys were on national television shitting on LiAngelo Ball and we didn't stand? Let me see what's wrong with that. You know, I'm sorry, Dex. I've been on the chest for a minute. I need to get that off pause.
Yeah, somebody said I'm lagging.
No, you good. You just gotta start talking. I feel like I'm coming in the background.
It might be Flight, because we had this problem before. I think it's on Flight, Rap God. I don't think it's me. So yeah, you might have to mute your mic when I talk, Flight. So yeah, you know, shame on those guys, right? But I think they took a little hit since then because LiAngelo's popularity has soared, and they still haven't recognized the transition of LiAngelo Ball, G3 or G Honcho, and that makes them look like old bitter haters. And their popularity to some degree have dissipated based on that, because
Can you hear me?
To ride the train that young hip hoppers ain't what's popping. It's all about old school hip hoppers who know everything. So I'm a little ashamed of Cameron and Mace when it comes to that, because like I said before, they got all over Jay Prince for playing gangster at almost 70 years old to them, and yet 50s, and yet they want to poo-poo on Leangelo instead of trying to give him some game and let them know how the industry is shark infested. Flight.
Yeah, no, you're right about that. Yeah, like I said, just got to get it organized. But what I was saying, alluding to, really was what you said about what's the name, taking Lakers in 5. This guy Shannon Sharp is a YouTube connoisseur. You know, at this point, this guy making damn near more noise on YouTube than he is on national television. So you don't think he heard of all of these channels and things like that? He has, you know, so he's in a position where he can take the good and let go of the bad, you know, and filter the shit out. So all of this is taking place. Dex, what do you think about that? Because he's heavy on YouTube. Heavy. Gilbert Arenas.
Yeah, Shannon Sharp is definitely a juggernaut, and he's becoming a conglomerate. But at the same time, he's a Laker fan, he's a LeBron fan, so I'm quite sure he might have lent the ear to that podcast from time to time, because that's a pretty good podcast. Boy running a pretty good podcast over there, and he has a lot of fanfare going on. So he probably stick his neck in a lot of Lakers content, and that's probably one of them. And it probably struck a chord in him. So whenever he got an opportunity to get on ESPN First Take, he let it fly. So now it seemed like he has invented that term, Lakers in 5, because Shannon is very charismatic. And when Shannon Sharp goes into his caricature, I mean, it is nuts. I mean, the dude is made for TV. That's the only reason why I will watch First Take. If I turn on First Take and he's not on there, I just turn it back off. But if I turn on First Take and he's on there, I try to watch every segment in which Shannon Sharp is involved in. Sometimes I might watch it with Mad Dog, because I'm a Mad Dog fan from way back in the day. You know what I'm saying? Chris Caruso. But outside of that, I wouldn't watch First Take if it was just Stephen A. I had stopped watching it for years and was watching more of Undisputed than First Take, based on Shannon Sharp and his caricature when he debates his counterpart. So yeah, he is sensational. I mean, I like Shannon Sharp. Me and my boys, we talk about how Shannon Sharp is. Some call him a coon, and others call him how he pandered to black people during the Colin Kaepernick, and then turn around and dating all the white girls that he can find, becoming a snow bunny king. Dr. Umar Johnson came down on Shannon Sharp for playing both sides of the fence. But nevertheless, it's TV, it's entertainment. I try not to get that deep into it, you know what I'm saying? People's personal lives, because the food they eat don't make me shit. So I try not to get too personalized in that. But nevertheless, taking and plagiarizing and not giving credit, that's just something I just don't like. Yeah, I find it kind of detestable.
Yeah, you're right about that, man. Just can't just completely, hijack, and that's what is taking place with a lot of these people. Gone are the days of wanting to get that job on inside the NBA. That job next to Charles Barkley and all that was the job they coveted. Now everybody got to have their own podcast. YouTube is going to be the most saturated market, and you got to understand, you got all these professional athletes, current, former, whatever the hell, all these guys are coming to YouTube. You understand? As you can see, all these guys got podcasts and platforms. I don't be. It's big business happening right now. That's all I'm gonna tell you. It's big business going on where you got to get these millionaire people, in here and get them their looks it's just happening. It just is what it is. It's unfortunate, but content creators, people who've been here, who've been doing this shit, you just gotta hold down your post, and like I said, there's a lot going on with these major celebrities coming to YouTube because not only the hijacking, oversaturating the market, taking people's content, running it on national television like it's theirs. So it's a lot. They might take an argument. It's a lot of things that goes on. It's sad. What pops up. Dex tell me so many times where a slogan or this was being used, and they clearly watching. And it just is what it is.
Yeah, because we have suffered that. I mean, throughout the ages of Flight Sports TV, since I've been a part of it, we have suffered from people taking our arguments, people taking the format style, and a whole lot of stuff. But it's a doggy dog world, so you got to continue to be top flight. And if you're not top flight, then you're going to be moved to the back, and then other new faces is going to come and usurp your position. And that's just how it goes in the industry. Whether it's entertainment, whether it's commercial, whether it's business, that's how I go. The big guy always, chew up the little guy. So the little guy have to be very crafty and very clever to keep themselves, afloat. So that way they can keep their head above water, or else they're gonna be drowned out. Because big bank always take little bank. And I'm gonna tell you who's upcoming right now. The person to watch. The upcoming personality that is Vernon Maxwell. Now he's getting ready to be the new hot thing if he stay committed to it. Larry Johnson, because see, these guys have stories to tell, and a lot of their stories have been negated because it wasn't the fairy tale. Some of their stories is kind of grimy, especially the UNLV days with my good friend Stacey Augman. You know what I'm saying? Even Stacey Augman don't tell me about the UNLV days. Even when I used to, put a little bread in his pocket, from time to time so he can gas up that Subaru he used to drive. But nothing extraordinary, but he just, kept it to his vest. He can't trust nobody. You don't know who to trust when it comes to that. But we all know that there is a story to tell with that UNLV crop back in the late 80s and early 90s. So Vernon Maxwell is coming through the pipeline, and people got to be ready for that, because Vernon Maxwell, not only do he have his own stories for his career, whether at Florida or the Houston Rockets or San Antonio, but he got Michael Jordan stories, and he's not afraid to tell it. These are the people that is going to rise in these YouTube spaces, because they're not afraid to tell the stories that the media try to obfuscate or even hush. So it's going to be exciting in this YouTube landscape, and it's survival of the fittest, Flight.
Yeah, no, it's facts. So we're just gonna have to look into it, man. We got to keep seeing what's happening. Shout out to Shannon Sharp and everything that he got going on, but they all got their antics, and the things that goes on. Because like I say, you see Cameron and Mace, all these guys come on here, And they don't really show love to the youth. Shout out to Kwame Brown. I think Kwame did it the right way. He may not have sat down with everybody you may have liked or whatever, but he hit the YouTube streets hard. Clearly, this has been a place where people been doing their work and covering their shit while these guys have been on the national airways. And Kwame came here and touched bases with content creators and things of that nature and worked with them. That's what I like. That's what I do like. I'm trying to think of some other people that have did some things. Gilbert Arenas, he did some things with FYF, and all of these things are good to see. When you see these big guys come to YouTube with their markets, they come here and just blow up in no time due to their popularity outside. And like I said, you see LeBron could start a podcast and get a dude a job. He about to do this with Steve Nash. Him and Nash got something going on. Don't be surprised if Nash get one of these big jobs. He end up in Denver or something, So this is just crazy. LeBron can make Steve Nash look like the biggest genius in basketball. And now he's getting one of the best jobs or something. I don't know what the hell is going on. But I do know the Lakers are a threat for the title. Dex, is it fair to say that the Los Angeles Lakers are a title threat this season, that they could very well walk away with championship with these teams in complete shambles?
Yes, I believe so. I don't think OKC have it on lock. I definitely don't believe Cleveland have it on lock. But I'm very suspicious about Boston. Boston seemed like they have playoff fatigue. And Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum and company, he have been in the playoff practically every year he been in the league. I think maybe for 1 year they might have missed. But outside of that, they could have playoff fatigue. And that could be the undoing of the Boston Celtics. Whereas the Los Angeles Lakers coming out of the West feel rejuvenated based on the health status of LeBron and Luka, as well as AR-15 trending in the right direction. So there is a mighty pillar in LA that got them high above most of the teams that's in the Western Conference. Do you trust Houston? We're going to see with Denver how they're going to end the season. Do you trust Minnesota? Do you trust Golden State? Do you think Golden State can win playing small ball? So the Clippers, I mean, what's up with the Clippers? They're coming on strong of lately, but they always seem to falter or get a nasty injury at the wrong time. So, yes, the Lakers are definitely a team that looks like they could be strong, a fortress, and formidable in their journey to 18th flight.
That'd be crazy if the Clippers win the title or even get to the finals, because I think they'll be sticking it to Paul George, especially Kawhi. I think Kawhi is one of them guys that could flip the switch on and off. And I don't know, maybe that may have motivated him, and now they about to prove that they can make a deep playoff run. Kawhi probably gonna put the team on his back. They've been resting him. They've been doing this. They've been doing that. I'm gonna be keeping my eyes. I know they play Houston tonight. I think Houston is a team I want to keep looking at, just to see how they play. They held the Warriors to a crazy defensive pressure. I mean, Curry only had 3 points. So these teams are coming on strong. But what I will say is, in the playoffs, man, these veteran squads, they're going to pay dividends. You talked about the Celtics, Dex. You still got to deal with them. You talk about Cleveland. I mean, to beat Boston is going to be extremely hard. You know, you see what they did to the Knicks. That was just ridiculous what happened yesterday. You know,
Knicks fought hard, though. They fought hard.
Yeah. Just, it was crazy. You talking about a situation where Tatum just stepped back and hit a three out of nowhere. I mean, it's just a heartbreaker. You know, it's just crazy how that happened. Basically, all of these teams are going to be a problem to beat. You know, especially these teams that look like they lost a step. They maybe didn't. Maybe they're getting bored. To beat Golden State, that's going to be hard. You know, to get in the series with Steph Curry, Jimmy, that's not going to be easy.
Well, you're going to have 20 teams racing to hoist the Larry O'Brien Trophy or Michael Jordan Trophy, whatever they got it named now. But those 20 teams, all of them don't have a legitimate chance. And only maybe 8 of the 20 teams have a puncher's chance. And out of that 8, maybe 4 might have a legitimate chance. So we're going to see how this unfolds as the extended season approaches, as we're at the last leg going down to the finish line of the regular season. Who's standing, who fell by the wayside, and who's limping. And those will be questions to be answered as the week closes out, and we will know where everybody is positioned, seated, and slotted for the extended season. Rap God said, Dex, do you have any thoughts on Melo surgery? Well, I mean, you know, we knew that was coming, especially with his wrist. So Melo is at home begging Anna Montana to feed him. So we know that LaMelo might be a little enabled, a little handicapped. Shout out to you, Will Stumbling. We know that LaMelo, for him to be on Anna Montana's live discreetly, he has to be somewhat disabled. So hopefully that surgery be really successful, is much needed, because he was falling apart as the second half of the season ensued. He had that spectacular doozy versus the Lakers, and he was unable to really replicate that kind of performance against that quality team since. So we knew that something was wrong. We knew that Coach Charles Lee hopefully was trying to protect LaMelo by not playing him extended minutes, even though we clamored against that. But now he's at home. He's with
I get what you're saying. He's at home and he's recovering from surgery.
Yeah, so he can't move around. And this is why he's in the background. See, people was trying to clown him a little bit. Like, oh, LaMelo acts like he's 5 years old. So, yeah, they probably
didn't add that in. Now, it's funny that you said that, Dex, because they didn't add that in, that he's actually just got out of surgery.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so that
right. I mean, you know, they probably on medication, all kind of shit going on probably with LaMelo. You know what I'm saying? And he's not nothing short but a fool anyway. So a lot of people find it very amusing to have LaMelo partake in that way while she was going live and trying to pronounce somebody's name. So it was.
Yeah, I'm with you there. You know, I do think Luka's. I mean,
It was situated, so he could be stable.
yeah,
But like I said, a lot of people didn't really know that because they don't they don't really. That was her live, it wasn't his live. So it was probably a lot of females, some gay people, some dudes that's probably salivating at the opportunity to see her move around, live, and speak in nature. So LaMelo's way off, tucked in the cubby hole, and he needed service. And so she said, I already gave you some food. Listen, I'm hungry. Whenever I'm hungry and I'm disabled like this, get your ass up and give me some food. Shit, that's what it is. What it is.
you're right about that, Dax. I mean, shout out to Anna.
Yeah, so shout out to the chat. So I'm just happy, Rap God, that they can get this over with. I'm glad he got it during the season. So in the off season, he have 100% freedom to rehabilitate, and we might see LaMelo on the Wade Show. So, Big Baller Brand is trying to launch a podcast. I mean, he's kind of putting his tentacles out there, or his spidey senses to see what is tingling and see if that could be a successful thing. Can you imagine LeVar Ball? I wonder who would be his co-host having a podcast, because he has a whole lot to say, and I think his podcast will probably chew up the Way Show because the Way Show is a little too PC. D'Angelo Ball being a part of the Way Show really kicks that show off because D'Angelo is spontaneous. We know Lonzo is too corporate. Lonzo and Demo, they too corporate because they got a lot hanging in the balance in the NBA and things of that nature. So, and Lonzo have to be the name to gather sponsors so everybody can get some bread about the show. But Jello is very spontaneous. He's a rapper. He's out there talking a lot of ish, and he's living his dream. And never that I would imagine that D'Angelo Ball on the mic will be this successful and people clamoring for the next hit. Like,
I'm with you there. Shout out to G3, keeping the music flowing. I love what I'm seeing from him, Hopefully he keeps up the good work. The playoffs coming up. You got Ja Morant. I want to get into Ja, getting into all this trouble, with the gun gestures, the bomb. It's getting wild with Ja, So, there's only one thing that he can do is win. They ain't gonna be able to. They're gonna have to deal with Ja Morant in a few days, when postseason play start. And he fucks around and kills a couple people out there, man. Fool around in advance. We're gonna have to pay homage. I can't wait till we see what Ja Morant does, and I hope that he don't change up how he operates. What are they gonna say now about the bomb? What do you think about that, Dax?
Get Ja Morant out here wilding. Yeah, he's bugging for real. But he just don't want to be the face of the NBA. He don't want to be a part of the politics.
You said that he didn't want to be a part of the NBA today?
Say that again?
You said that he didn't want to be a part of today's NBA.
I'm talking about as a face.
Oh yeah.
Because they was putting Ja in the face. When Zion fell, they went to Ja. Immediately went to Ja. And it was a good thing because Ja was a human highlight. And by him being a shorty, according to NBA, and then I seen him live too. I seen Ja in person. I waved at him. He waved back, but there was no communication. And he doesn't look 6'1" to me. I'm 5'8". Ja look like he about 5'10". You know what I'm saying? And he had a hoodie on, and he had a bunch of hair on his head, dreadlocks or whatever he had on his head. Now, that might make him close to 5'11" if you measure from the dreadlocks all the way down to the bottom of his feet. But as far as the visual I had on Ja, he doesn't look nowhere near 6 feet or 6'1" or nothing like that. Neither did Allen Iverson, though. I met Allen Iverson at a blackjack table. And he stood up to take a picture, right? And then the dealer told him to sit down because he was getting ready to deal the hand, or they're going to deal him out of the hand. And I was unable to get the picture because he was more focused on the blackjack, right? Rightfully so. But Allen Iverson didn't look like he was 6'1". He looked like he's probably about 5'10". But nevertheless, this is what they do in the NBA. So Ja Morant, as he was walking through Summer League, supporting his Grizzlies, to me, he just didn't seem a 6-footer. I could be wrong. Maybe it was my perception. You know what I'm saying? But from where I was at, I was close to the floor, and I couldn't get 6 feet out of that. But yeah, he just don't want to be the face of the NBA. He just want to just go ahead and do his thing the way he wants to do it, because he don't want to be part of those politics that it takes to be the face of the NBA. And if that's what he wants, cool.
Don't nobody want to be the face. Who's gonna be the face? Rap guy said Ant don't want to be the face. Like I said, nobody wants to be. I guess it's gonna be one of the people from overseas.
No, that's gonna be hard because Americans have to accept that. Now, maybe they're gonna groom Cooper Flag. Maybe they're like, you know what? Okay, these blacks don't want to do it because the microscope is on them, and they starting to see that it's boggling them down for their everyday life, and they probably don't want to do it, right? These young blacks coming up. But maybe Cooper Flag might take that mantle.
Yeah, I want you to shout out Cooper Flag. I hope he end up in Charlotte.
Donald Trump and the MAGA hats are making a lot of noise, and he falls up under that. Not saying that he's a liberal or conservative, not saying he's a Republican or Democrat or even an independent. I don't know his political affiliation. But Flag, the way he looks and where he's from, he could garner the support of both sides and be able to merge them and keep the viewership of the NBA at an all-time high. So maybe that's the guy, Cooper Flag, coming out of Duke in this year's draft, because it don't seem like they want Jason Tatum, because to me, Jason Tatum is the obvious guy. To me, from my experience, he's the obvious guy. But maybe it's something there with Jason Tatum that he being from the show me state, that maybe they don't trust. I don't, you know what I'm saying? Because them cats from St. Louis, they act a fool. You know what I'm saying? They just like Chi-Town cats. So, because a lot of Chi-Town cats in St. Louis, a lot of LA cats in St. Louis. So I don't know when it comes to that. You know what I mean? But are the Bulls holding off Zoe for the play-in? Yes. That's a definitely yes. Should be back before the season ends. I think the Bulls got 3 games left. So it's a possibility that Zoe could come back next game and he'd be filtered in to be able to mesh with the chemistry and try to be cohesive. Zoe is still around. He's not gone anywhere. He's still a locker room presence, but he just haven't got on the court. That wrist, maybe it's a little tender. I don't know. I thought he was more healed, and the Bulls were just allowing them youngsters just to run wild. You know what I'm saying? Like in Spain, running with the Bulls. And they've been pretty successful because they locked in to the play-in. Hopefully the Bulls can get to the 7th seed. That would be awesome in his last 3 games. But if not, Lonzo will still have his first ever extended season presence in the NBA once the 82 games are closed out. So they're not rushing with Lonzo because why? They're doing good. Josh doing good. Kobe White is stellar. Herter, you follow what I'm saying? He's back. So the Bulls they're playing pretty well with the roster construction so far, but we know that's not going to stay. While we're on the Bulls, they're promoting Josh Giddey like crazy. And they're trying to force feed us Josh Giddey. And this is where the politics come in at. Nobody in Chicago, the real Chicago heartland. Nobody in the real heartland of Chicago is buying Josh Giddey. The NBA wants a Caucasian in that market that could be acceptable. And so they're trying to thrust Josh Giddey down us. If Josh Giddey was that good, he would never left OKC. Because that is a market that Josh Giddey, with his complexion, should have excelled in when it came to attention and fanfare. Those boys on the red clay out there in Thundercat land, they have always wished to have a Caucasian player to represent that part of central United States. You follow what I'm saying? Even though they call it Midwest, but it's really kind of central. It's not south, it's not north, it's not west.
Yeah, I'm with you. Good call there, Dax. We're gonna find out.
Here,
Lonzo,
because I used to live in Oklahoma City.
Let's give it some time. Everybody want to rush Lonzo.
Can you hear me?
You broke up at the end.
Oh, yeah, I was saying down in Tornado Alley, they covet Caucasian players, and Josh Giddey should have been one of the young ones as they drafted him to be paired with Shea, you know what I'm saying, and Chet Holmgren. But somehow, some way,
Good call.
and that is not what they want. See, Chicago has been a team who always had since what's that guy named that got drafted by Chicago #1? He was a coach too. He's from Chicago. Got drafted him, Dave Cohen. Since Dave Cohen, that ain't been the thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you had the artist Gilmores. You had Reggie Theus, who was a sex symbol, and then you had the Michael Jordan era. Then after the Michael Jordan era, it kind of faded a little bit, and then you had Derrick Rose. It wasn't no Caucasian player to rise up in the ranks within that organization. But now, like I said, we're in this mega era, and they want to see Caucasian NBA players excel.
Right. Not just be in the NBA, excel. Shout out to
You know what I'm
Austin
saying?
Reeves. I think Reeves gonna be the poster boy.
But see, that's LA. But that's LA though. Like LA has always been liberal. You know what I'm saying? So, they had the Kurt Ramesses. They had the Mitch Kupchaks. They had what's that one? The little crazy white boy from Stanford, Mark Madman. They tried to put Lou Wall.
Yeah, go call that, Dax, man. Like I said, there's a lot going on.
Blue blood Caucasians. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can now.
I'm keep fading out or what?
Yeah, you're good now.
I don't know what's going on because I'm good with my Wi-Fi. I got all my bars unless you're moving around. But yeah, so the NBA nowadays, they always try to keep up with the political climate. When it was a liberal climate, they did a lot of liberal stuff. Now there's a conservative climate. Now they're trying to do conservative stuff. It's just business 101. Follow the wave.
Yeah. Good call. A rap guy said flag, born
Yeah,
in Newport, Maine.
Maine is a conservative state. I've been to Maine as well, but yeah, Maine is kind of conservative. It used to be a blue state, but I think they're more conservative now. But Maine, being up in Maine, you ain't seeing no black folks. There ain't no black folks up in Maine. You know what I mean? You might get a sprinkle of some Africans here or there, and that's looking for employment in Maine. But Maine, that's one of the purest white states. They be talking about the South. Man, you go up to Maine and Vermont, please.
Yeah, shout out to Maine.
So don't get fooled because it's Maine. Yeah, Maine and Vermont. I'm telling you. Now not Delaware. Rhode Island. Rhode Island that's liberal. You know what I'm saying? But Vermont and Maine, I think they're conservative. I'm gonna tell you that right now. So Cooper Flag coming up out of the situation. Yeah, the Red Hats love excel in the NBA. It almost be like what's the quarterback from Florida, Tim Tebow. Championship at Duke as a freshman, man. You think Christian Laettner got a lot of hoopla? Please, he would have ate Christian Laettner popularity up because Christian Laettner was there for 4 years. So yeah, Cooper Flag is going to be something to watch. So we're going to have to see how they position Cooper Flag and how the PR team roll him out into the public. Professional. Well, you could say college is professional too right now, but as an NBA player, that's going to be something to see. Go ahead, Flight.
No, good point there. I just want to see what these guys do when they get to the league. I'm not getting too caught up with Cooper Flag and this and that. I want to see what he do when he get to the league, what team he gets to. All of that is going to play a part in it. So I see a lot of people sipping the Flag Kool-Aid, but I need to see him at the NBA level. That's all. Just give him time.
Well, he's gonna be a hot topic. YouTubers or anybody that's whether it's Riddick, whether it's X, whether it's Spaces, whether it's TikTok, whether it's Tread, he's going to be a hot topic coming into the.
Yep. I'm with you there. We're going to find out. Yeah. But
yes, sir. And shout out to everybody.
Yeah, shout out to everybody. I'm about to get up out of here, Dex. We're going to pull back up. Shout out to all y'all in the chat. I appreciate y'all for tuning in. Want to give y'all a post-game report. Luka Doncic returns. This is homecoming, 45 big buckets. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. We're going to try to pick up more live streams for the people. We're going to just make sure you tune in. Hit the bell on the icon so you don't miss nothing. You're available every time we tune in. There's a lot of stories to be told, a lot of different things percolating, and we got playoff basketball coming up. That's always exciting. I'm anticipating some major matchups. We will have a playoff preview for you, so make sure y'all tune in. It's Flight Sports TV. You already know what it is. We ain't going nowhere. When we back, it's Flight Sports. Peace and love.
Flight Sports TV, man. That's my dude. I rolls with him.
You heard what the man said. It's Flight Sports TV.